Maybe you were too far. There's Shayna. And I'm Miss Caranna. And we are going to be working through how to begin the process. Shayna is an at-home student, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you known about your exhibition defense project?
Since Thursday.
Okay, and how much have you gotten done?
0.
Okay, so anyone at home watching this can do this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So far, we just started by looking at the profile of a graduate because everything that we use as language for reflection comes from these competencies. And competencies is another word for skills that you've developed. And of course, we want you to grow in the skills of like reading, writing, and math and all of that. But these are the things that we believe will help you beyond the classroom and into the workplace and in your community. So, for every grade level, it's different, but for 10th grade, your job is to pick 2 competencies and 2 artifacts and reflect on your strengths and weaknesses. So we started with just looking at which one of these competencies was she very strong in. And a competency is organized by color, so everything that's orange, it kind of connects to it. I don't know how well you can see that, but we're going to be looking at Inspired Innovator, and we're just going to go through each one of these bullet points kind of like as a checklist to see if she has kind of mastered that, or if she's growing in it, or if she's far from that. So that's a starting point for brainstorming. Okay, so I'm going to ask her some questions. You can do this yourself as a checklist, or if you want to meet with your advisor, schedule an appointment, and ask for them to kind of coach you through this process. We would be glad to help you and support you in helping you enter these. These aren't really questions, they're just kind of criteria. So again, if you haven't mastered that or shown that in your learning this year, it doesn't mean you won't talk about it. You'll just reflect on that that's a growth area for you. Okay, so we're going to start. Shayna, what is the learning opportunity, the project, the artifact that you're going to discuss for Inspired Innovator?
I'm probably going to do my podcast because that's what I'm most proud of that I've done since I've been in high school.
Did you do it perfectly?
No.
Okay, so that's important that you guys know that this project that she did, it doesn't meet all of the criteria of innovator, and you'll hear that as we discuss it. But I'm just going to go through these bullet points and ask her, how did you do this? Okay, so the first bullet point says, an inspired innovator explores multiple possibilities. So how did you do that when making your podcast?
I got a bunch of different like resources and like people to talk to get different like reasons for my to like back up my evidence and stuff. And I had a bunch of different possibilities. Like I made it possible by going through multiple resources and stuff.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that, well, first of all, did you pick your topic or did I pick for you?
I had an idea and then you helped me like tie it all together.
How did you come up with your idea?
I picked something that really interested me and something that I knew I could talk about for a while.
Did you know automatically what you wanted to do, or did you think about a couple options?
I thought about a couple options, and then as the longer I sat there, I realized what I could do.
Okay. Better. So I think that kind of just reinforces that you don't just go with one direction and stick with it. You look at a lot of different perspectives and angles. Okay. The next bullet point says an inspired innovator challenges the status quo, which basically means the way things are. Was there an opportunity for you in this project to challenge the status quo, and did you do that?
Yeah, there was. I mean, I think there's always an opportunity to do more than what you're given, and I think I did when like putting it together in WeVideo. I like did as much as I could to make it better, and so I knew it would sound better. And I think I did that like by adding background music, and I like always evaluated on what I was talking about so people could understand me better.
Okay, I like what you said about evaluating what you've done and improving the process. I want to come back to that. That's actually the next bullet point. With challenging the status quo, did everybody use WeVideo?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
You're required to.
And so I think this might be a potential area of growth for not just you, Shayna, but for me as a teacher to say, here's WeVideo. We're going to record and edit on WeVideo. But there are actually resources and opportunities to do more. There's all kinds of sound equipment that we have in the cabinets that we could have used had we said, I want to do more. We don't have to do it this way. I want to use GarageBand or I want to use Adobe. And so let's think about that as maybe a growth area. You've done it a little bit, but we kind of just sometimes just do the best of what we've been
Yeah.
asked, but not really challenging that I could do it differently if I want. Okay, so the next one, you've already hit on this, was seeking to continually improve the process and the product. How did you do that?
Well, when I'm doing an assignment, I always know that like I don't want to just turn it in to turn it in. Like I want to get the best grade that I can. So I constantly was like revising my information that I had, and then like I would put the video in my video, and then I would listen to it to make sure it sounded right. And I was always changing things so it was the best, and I was really proud of the outcome.
Mhm. I think sometimes when we're doing a project, we focus more on getting it done so it can be done versus making something we're proud of and being the best version of it. So I think revision is really important when it comes to innovation. Okay, applying a deliberate design process to solve problems. Did you think through your steps, plan things out, and what did that look like?
I did. I had a different document for every episode of it was like a layout that you created,
Mhm.
and I went in and filled it out, and I followed that. But each episode, it was like how I started it. It was like sentence starters for me. So like whenever I was making my video, I went back and I was reading that document the whole time, so I didn't forget what I was going to say.
Okay, that's great. So you had an outline, a plan. I know sometimes when we make videos, we do storyboards and stuff. It's all the same concept of just planning out. Did it ever change along the way, or did you stick to the plan every time?
It changed through my third episode, I think, second or third. I went back and changed my outline a little bit because I was going to kind of talk about the same stuff as my first one, so I wanted to make sure I was hitting different points.
Okay, so that's how you solve that problem. The next one I really love. I'm an entrepreneur. Do you know what that means?
A little.
Entrepreneur means like starting ideas, especially when it comes into terms of business ideas. I'm wondering what this looks like for a learner at school. I haven't figured this one out yet, but I'm wondering maybe you have.
Like starting like just ideas or
Well, I mean, I feel like so to me, when I hear the term entrepreneur, I think of starting a business, but it says entrepreneurial spirit, so I want to make sure we entrepreneur. I'm typing this at home. I don't know how to spell entrepreneurial spirit. What did they mean by that? Entrepreneurial spirit is a mindset, an attitude, and approach to thinking actively to seek out change rather than waiting to adapt to change. It's a mindset that embraces critical questioning, innovation, service, and continuous improvement. Okay. Doesn't have to do with the business like I thought. So, yeah. Did you do that?
Can you read that first part again?
A mindset, an attitude and approach to thinking that actively seeks out change rather than waiting. It's kind of like being proactive instead of reacting to problems, thinking about the problems ahead of time.
So I think I am proactive in certain cases, but I don't know if I really showed that during this podcast.
Okay.
Especially because it's something that like I haven't heard of a lot.
Right.
But I think it's definitely an area of growth that can help me be successful for like a bunch of future assignments.
For sure. Yeah, and in the workplace.
Oh yeah.
Like as an employer, I want people who are going to figure out what the problems could be beforehand and then think about those solutions instead of panicking when the problems happen.
Like this is kind of like doesn't really relate, but like at my job, I always want to get things done. And like I don't want to have things weighing over my shoulder.
Sure.
So I can apply that at school too.
Absolutely. Okay, and then the last bullet point, acting on creative ideas.
I think I did act on creative ideas because I did my podcast about like murder mysteries in Shelby County, and I named it Strange Shelby. And I don't think a lot of people like actually dive into that kind of stuff just because it's not a topic that like a lot of people want to talk about. Like you have to have a heart for wanting to dive into that kind of stuff. So I think I was creative with it because I brought up murders and like mysteries that a long time ago maybe people haven't even heard, and I really dove deep into them so we could understand like the background of them.
Perfect. Well, it was a really good podcast, by the way. Your music choice was excellent. All right. Okay, so guys, hello. So what we did is we just walked through just a brainstorming session. This is not the end product of this section on profile of a graduate. I don't know my right and left because I'm on mirror boop, right there. Inspired Innovator. If you don't have this document, you can find it on the Shelby County Public Schools website at the very bottom, or just search Shelby County Public Schools Profile of a Graduate. This is the tool, this is the language, and we are not all there yet as teachers and admin. We are still doing our best to help you guys understand it, but that's our goal. And just know what we went through, what Shayna just did, the things that she said are really close to what she could say during her exhibition and do perfectly well. Notice that she didn't achieve mastery on every single thing on this entire list, but she's talking at where I'm at now, where I've grown, and where I still need to grow. And you use one of your learning experiences to do that. It could be a project like a podcast, but if you've never done anything like that, I mean, guys, if you've written an essay, hopefully you've written an essay this year, you can do effective communicator right here in the middle, and talk about, and you didn't have to get a 4 on it to be able to do well in this presentation. Again, it's about reflection and growth. So you have met these competencies. You probably hit on all of them a little bit here and there. And the point is to stop right now and think where I'm at on this journey. What do I still need to work on so that when I graduate from this place, profile of a graduate, not profile of a I'm done, because you're not, but of where I need to work on in the future. Because when I step out of this school, I want to be filled with knowledge in all academic areas, but I also want to be filled with the skills that I can use to help me succeed in work. So that's just a brainstorming session. I hope it helped you figure out how do I even approach talking about my competencies in the profile of a graduate and artifacts. So the artifact, again, is a piece of evidence that's a learning experience. So you'll see later when Shayna has her slides put together, she'll probably have a link to her podcast. That's the artifact. That's the proof of the end product of her learning these skills. Okay? All right, if you have questions, you can email Shayna Smith at Shelby.Stu, whatever, all that stuff. Thanks. Bye.